Evaluation question 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media texts? In our A2 coursework, we have made a music video and 2 ancillary products. We have made these products for an indie rock band called Demographic, which have a target audience of 16 to 24-year-olds who are the same age as the band are. The target audience is also 60% male. We have got this demographic because the band members are often seen as ideal selves, Carl Rogers 1959, to their target audience because they are seen as ideal selves who are relatable and have made it. This is reinforced by the star persona Richard died in 1979 we have presented in our band, as this is the lead singer Billy Marsden being seen as an electronic shaman Sven E. Carlson 1999, with his quirky dress sense and voice being very much the main ideal self within the band. However, the target audience is also 40% female because the indie genre is pretty much on an even level, with it having females and male fans, and especially in our music video where we have an anti-hero female appearing as an ideal partner and dominant female within the video. We have a closed flexi narrative because we have got a hybrid video. The concept of our music video is a female anti-hero going around being promiscuous with all the members of the band. You will see her go to their gig and finally end up with Billy, our star persona. Claude Levi-Strauss 1958 talks about binary opposites within media text. These then create a preferred reading, Stuart Hall 1980, to the audience. In our music video, we have gender as our binary opposition, challenging stereotypes because in the narrative part of our video, we have the female anti-hero as the dominant gender, and then the males as the subordinate gender, until we get to the performance part of the video, where the males are stereotypically dominant, which is encoded through our shot types of low-angle shots. We use our anti-hero to attract audience members, especially with objectifying her sexually. Laura Mulvey, 1975. This is very stereotypical, but in our music video we use this stereotype to create dominance for our female. This representation is not pastiched from one main music video. Instead, I have used creativity in rearranging of the old to make the new, Bentley 1997, to get little bits of lots of videos, such as the opening montage of Joanna by the Little Comets, showing multiple women getting out of bed with men and getting dressed and sneaking out, and Mr. Brightside by the Killers, which has the theme of a woman using her promiscuity to get what she wants by using it to her advantage to play 2 men off against each other, just like our anti-hero is playing 4 different boys off against each other. The music video also has a theme of sex. This band is an indie rock band, just like our band, so has the same target audience as ours, so we can pastiche this with confidence that it gives the correct preferred reading because of the target audience being the same, because the genre is the same. We also pastiche The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars because it has the idea of having all the band in the narrative and crossing the narrative into performance in terms of characters we have pastiched. It also has the convention of having the lead singer and star persona in a close-up in the performance on the first word of the song in the same shot, a close-up, as ours, when Billy says you, as when the lead singer in the music video sings what. However, The Kill does not use our ideologies. We mainly pastiche the indie videos, which is using music videos as a postmodern text, Julian McDougall 2009, such as Joanna by the Little Comets. From this video, we have pastiched the opening montage of the video. We encoded this montage of our anti-hero being shown as promiscuous within shot types used, such as long shots of her body and her bare back, which connote promiscuity and mystery, as you do not see her face, because it creates a preferred reading of her being the dominant female anti-hero within the indie ideology of sex, drugs and rock and roll to the audience, and establishes the narrative by encoding the sexuality. This agrees with not only Tim O'Sullivan 1998 arguing media texts always tell us some kind of story, but also with Todorov's 1977 Stages of a Narrative equilibrium, disequilibrium, action against it, and new equilibrium. However, we challenged Todorov's theory because you could say that we don't have equilibrium to start with, because the theme of our story being a centre of Stanley Cohen 1972, folk devils and moral panic theory, with our anti-hero being the folk devil. This is because as a society, we have an ideology that a young girl using her sexuality to get what she wants as a negotiated reading. So many people may see disequilibrium to start with within our narrative structure. However, to our target audience in terms of who we are appealing to, because of our genre and age, 16 to 24-year-olds, this would possibly not be a problem because of the ideologies of the young within society. It may not be the same as the older generation's view that a woman using her sexuality is a bad thing, but instead empowering and seen as a norm. We also pastiche our split screen from example kickstarts, and although this is not the same genre as our video, indie rock, it is where we pastiched our idea from and what inspired us to do it this way. We pastiche the idea that they are all doing the same thing in the split screen, which in our video is her getting out of bed with each member of the band, but the timing is the same. So on each one she is getting up out of bed and leaving, but they are all different in terms of people, band members, and clothing she is wearing that we encoded to connote her time lapses. We pastiche this from example music video, but changed it like theirs, who have different shoes in each one, so that Maddie wore 3 different outfits and has 3 different people, members of the band, except our star persona, who is establishing the narrative by her trying to get him to be hers after already being with the other members of the band, just set up in the same way. Like in Kickstart's video, it is all the same shot and the same part of the body, the foot. This allowed us to pastiche conventions of a real media text to create a preferred reading of our main anti-hero, where the audience could see her folk devil behaviour with different men, but at the same time. This is further reinforced with the lyrics of the song, There She Goes Again, jump cutting in time to the pace of the visuals appearing in the split screen, Goodwin 1992. Do or Die by 30 Seconds to Mars has got white text on the screen saying love and do or die, which we pastiched the idea for the words There She Goes Again from. Even though it is not a general code and convention of indie rock music videos, we developed this convention because we wanted the song lyrics to match the visuals, Goodwin 1992, but also because it emphasises our preferred reading of the narrative, because it emphasises the connotations of saying There She Goes Again. This acts as sort of an action code, Roland Barthes 1997, because the lyrics combined with the actions of the first split screen of her walking out and leaving connotes the preferred reading easily. There are also lots of performance shots on stage that we could have pastiched, but we ended up with no crowd shots because there wasn't a big crowd where we filmed, so it would have looked ineffective. So even though we pastiched this, we did not use the crowd shots. Also, this video is good to pastiche mise-en-scène because of the narrative using stereotypical indie people in terms of look, so we can use the video to help create our imaginary entity, Yen Ang, and the band's look in terms of giving preferred reading of an indie rock band. The people in the video are wearing complete opposite to our anti-hero because we are challenging the convention that our anti-hero is indie, because we want to portray her as a dominant female. We have encoded aspects of mise-en-scène like the fur coat and iconography such as the blonde hair to do so. However, we challenged our Kickstart split screen in black and white split screen because our music video narrative is in colour, but the performance part is in black and white because it is a performance part. We had to stick to the convention of our own video. A main influence of our entire brand has been the Arctic Monkeys. This is due to them being in the same genre as our band and from around the same area as our band, which is useful in establishing what record label to use, Domino Records, and what themes are popular in the mainstream market. We pastiche a lot of the black and white ideas from the Arctic Monkeys. They use black and white and other indie genre conventions that we have developed while editing the footage. The black and white used throughout our video is the indie genre convention because it is cheap and it has connotations of indie rock, being seen as homemade, which fits with our band type and appeals to the target audience. This creates verisimilitude with our stock characters. Vladimir Prop, 1928. This has been done with the mainstream videos such as Ed Sheeran's A-Team, where the video is all in black and white to connote the mood of sadness, but yet is calm at the same time. We also included black and white to connote a change in our anti-hero and binary oppositions, Claude Levi-Strauss, 1977, because we have the female being dominant in colour, but the males being dominant are in black and white. This also helps us include genre because our anti-hero is not a stereotypical indie character, but our band is, and with them being in entire black and white, helps us give us the preferred reading of the genre. We also used jump cutting and cross-cutting of the characters, for example at the ending, where the video is cross-cutting from our anti-hero in bed with all the different members of the band, to her then kissing our star persona, which is matching the pace of the narrative and the music, Goodwin 1992. It also connotes the fast-paced lifestyle theme that we have encoded into our video by editing these jump cuts and cross cuts all the way through the video. Indie rock is a subgenre of Indian rock, Barry Keith Grant, 1995. All genres have a subgenre. Within our subgenre, we need various codes and conventions in order for our imaginary entity, Yen Ang, 1991, to be able to identify with them through their recognisable characteristics before we develop our products into a proper brand. This then led us to John Hartley, 1987, who says all institutions, which is us, are obliged to talk to an audience, which we have done through creating our imaginary entity and gaining feedback and doing research. We did this through our media presentation of our initial ideas on Prezi.com, where we presented to our peers in class, gaining feedback on SurveyMonkey.com. Overall, the feedback we gained was positive and qualitative data feedback. For example, what do you think of idea for a hybrid video? Please give us constructive feedback in the box below, which led to answers like, good because it shows things from a different perspective, and yes, I think it will suit the song. We then use this feedback to develop our ideas and add to our imaginary entity to speak to our target audience through subcultural capital, Sarah Thornton. We had encoded such as mise-en-scene of costume for the band in the performance scene, which was stereotypically indie, scruffy jeans and t-shirt, developing our ideas more as we had already gained the feedback from people who fit our target audience. Jason Mattel, 2001, says that institutions use subgenres to sell products to audiences. Since our subgenre is indie rock, we have encoded different iconography and elements of some subgenre to sell our product, the brand demographic, to our audience. One of these ways is the anti-hero who is seen as the ideal self, Dyer 1979, which allows us as producers to mediate her in a way to become a sellable commodity to our audience. With the consumers picking what they want to consume, we use products like cigarettes in our arc shot and the close-up of our star persona lighting our anti-hero cigarette to create verisimilitude and appeal to our target audience by connoting they have the same ideologies and norms and values as each other. The idea of our smoke is something that appeals particularly to our audiences because of this idea of shared ideologies within our target audience. We pastiche smoke from the Killers music video for Human, where they use smoke, although not in a cigarette smoke, as a transition during their video to denote different scenes going from performance to narrative. They also use a lot of transparent shots over another shot, which we have pastiche a lot through, because it helps us keep the music matching the visuals, Goodwin 1992. Through aspects of micro-elements like mise-en-scène, especially costume, we have created a stereotypical indie look, and this will be mediated across to the audience. However, our location in the narrative is a big house with a cream carpet, which is not very indie. Even though research and planning did go into locations, for example the location of the opening montage of Joanna, we could only make the bedroom look stereotypically indie, whereas the rest of the house is not. This is because we did not have access to what would be classed as a stereotypical indie house, for example a student house. Andrew Goodwin's 1992 Codes and Conventions of Music Videos have to be used within every music video in order to create verisimilitude. We do this through several ways. We have used these conventions through our split screen where the recognisable lyrics, "There she goes again," are displayed in text. So the music matches the visuals on the screen in terms of the lyrics. Our split screen also relates to Roland Barthes' 1977 Enigma codes, setting up problems for the audience because of the iconography within it of her getting up, getting dressed and leaving, such as insert shots of bottles and ashtrays, which are stereotypes of our genre. We have also used the codes and conventions of voyeurism a lot, but I've challenged a screen within a screen because although we have used a screen within our screen in our video because of looking at our anti-hero through a mirror in an over-the-shoulder shot, but we also sneak up on her going around the door and ending up in a mid-shot of her back as she is undressing in a zoom. This appeals to our audience because she is undressing, which makes her appeal as the ideal partner, Carl Rogers 1969, to the audience, creating a preferred reading of her using her sexuality to get what she wants, Stuart Hall 1980. The close-ups in our video is something we have struggled with because we did not plan enough to have enough close-ups of our lead singer lip-syncing, so we did not have enough lip-syncing. This is something we have resolved by going onto Adobe Premiere CS 5.5 and going through the footage and razor tooling it into the footage to create more lip-syncing in our video, with the lip-syncing now being to a suitable level as it is a code and convention of a music video, especially within the indie genre where it is stereotypical to have a hybrid video. Our music matches the visuals because we have created a lot of jump cuts through the post-production stage of producing our product. These jump cuts are especially prominent at the end of our video. These jump cuts are especially important because of the pace of the music and even the narrative and whole ideology, Tim O'Sullivan 1998, of sex, drugs and rock and roll, which connotes a fast-paced lifestyle. Jump cuts used to help encode the preferred reading is that of the cuts to different performance scenes, and at the beginning and end using cross-cuts to help establish a narrative of the promiscuous woman being dominant and going around the members of the band by creating a montage in the beginning of the video of her getting out of bed, and then at the end of the cross-cuts of her getting in and out of bed with the rest of the band and then kissing our star persona. We have pastiched this music matching the visuals fast-paced from Jay-Z and Alicia Keys' Empire State of Mind, which is also in black and white. We also pastiche Kaiser Chiefs music video, I Predict a Riot, because the music matches the visuals in terms of the very fast pace, especially in the beginning, which is the same as ours. It does this by encoding lots of jump cuts and cross cuts in the video, which we have pastiched to create this fast-paced effect, especially at the end of our video. The iconography of our artist is mainly linking to our star persona of Billy Marsden. We have exploited him and the iconography that goes with him to our advantage to bring the brand some recognition by using him as anchorage for the brand. For example, his clothes and glasses throughout the video are very indie because we denote them as being old-fashioned and connote not many people wearing them, giving them the stereotypical indie meaning of them being niche, which uses stereotypes of real media text, and we know through pastiching other bands, Arctic Monkeys' AM tour poster is a good example of this, and looking at our subgenre, that the audience see the band on a hegemonic view. This is opposite from the countertype of our anti-hero who creates a pluralistic view in our narrative to our audience, especially within the female audience. We use iconography of our female across our whole branding, and that is the red lipstick. We also use the blonde hair as iconography in our video. This iconography is very stereotypical of a sex icon throughout all media, for example using her as a femme fatale. We have mainly used two of Dennis Becquale's uses in gratification theory. The first is escapism, which we have used within both parts of our video. We have used this within our narrative because we have used Adobe Premiere to create effects like ghosting, which gives the audience a sense of being drunk, which is a form of diversion and escapism, which relates to the audience, so creates verisimilitude within our video, as it especially relates to our imaginary entity of our subgenre, therefore is part of our audience's subcultural capital, Sarah Thornton, 1995. We pastiche this effect from Arctic Monkeys, Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High? When in the beginning, to establish the narrative of being high, they use this effect to connote him being intoxicated when looking in the mirror. We use escapism in our performance because the band are on stage, which for many they are like living the dream. This is stereotypical of an indie video, as the producers like to create this audience pleasure. Secondly, we have developed a personal identity within the brand as we present themes and ideologies of sex, drugs and rock and roll. This is relatable within our genre, but also links to escapism, as doing these sort of actions is a very clear ideology, as something you do when you want to escape from the norms. We have mainly created this through iconography while filming, and camera angles on what can be seen and what can't be seen within our video. For example, the high angle arc shot of the alcohol and cigarettes, which connote this ideology, next to the bed. We developed this in editing by using fast motion time-lapse because we wanted it to stick to the fast-paced jump cuts of the video, matching the visuals to the beat of the music. 1992, Goodwin. Julian McDougall, 2009, says that it is getting harder and harder to conceive an audience as a stable, identifiable group. We have done this through mise-en-scène of costumes, such as our anti-hero not wearing stereotypical indie costume because she is wearing a fur coat, which is not what you associate with the indie genre. However, the red lipstick is very stereotypical of the indie genre. By encoding microelements, it is developing the real media text, because although we have challenged conventions in binary oppositions of gender, if we challenge them too far, it could attract indie pop or other subgenre audiences. Overall, we have used research, planning and various other methods, including camera work and editing, to get a preferred reading through looking at real media text to give our brand verisimilitude.